If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Monday, November 4th, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. In the past 2 episodes of the show, we've talked to the head men's and women's coaches from the recent USA Swimming Select Camp that took place in Colorado Springs. Today we're going to hear from one of the swimmers that participated as well as her coach. Hannah Cox will join us in a few seconds in the Fitness Monitor along with her coach at the Upper Valley Aquatic Club, Dorsi Raynolds. The two are just about to start afternoon workout, but before they do, they join us on Skype from White River Junction, Vermont. Ladies, it's great to see you. How are you today?
Good. Great.
Well, Hannah, I got to imagine it's been great getting back here in Vermont. I'm sure the weather was about identical in Colorado for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
But probably really nice to be back there at sea level.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So first, I'm really anxious to hear about this experience, Hannah, that you had, and then Dorsi will talk to you as well. Hannah, let's start talking about the training. How was the altitude?
It was hard, and the training was hard. And you just kind of got with it and got used to it and went on with the workout. But it was good.
All right, I want to hold up just a little bit. We had a little issue here with your monitor. It wasn't full screen, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Okay. All right, there. It's all fixed. Okay, so we're just picking it right back up. No problem. You guys are fine. And do you remember, Hannah, what maybe the toughest set was that you had there in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, the first practice when we split up into our individual groups, I was with the distance group. We did a practice and it was like 100, 200, 400, 800. And the 200 had to be faster than the 100 and so on. And then it went back down to 800, 400, 200, 100. And all of those had to be faster than the previous set. So that was pretty difficult.
Tell us what your 800 time was. Do you remember?
Oh, gosh. I don't remember. Sorry.
You just remember hitting the wall and like, thank God that was over.
Yeah, it was long, but it was good.
Yeah, especially being, like I said, being at altitude. It's about 6,000 feet up there, so they're not kidding around.
No.
So, Dorsi, I know that you were invited to go along with her. A lot of the coaches, the personal coaches of these swimmers were able to go. Were you able to watch a lot of her workouts?
No, actually, the coaches are on a completely separate track educationally. They only let us watch one of their workouts, which is tough for those of us who love to, be in the pool all the time. But we were on a completely separate track as coaches. And I have to say, the 64 of us are, I didn't count exactly how many coaches were there because I know some weren't representing they weren't there with their athlete, they just sent them alone. But the educational track was so amazing and really one of the best coaches clinics I've ever been at. Actually, it was the best coaches clinic I've ever been at. The ideas that we got from fellow coaches in the group, sports psychology, we had a session on sports psychology, two sessions on dry land, one from a club coach that was there too, and one from the Olympic Training Center staff. And then a nutrition, the dietitian for the U.S. Olympic team. So it was outstanding, not to mention getting to hang out and listen to Frank Bush, the national team coach. So it really it reaffirmed that we're doing the right things here, and it gave me some new ideas about how to help coach the whole team, not just Hannah.
Well, tell me about some of those things that maybe you brought back to Vermont that you've been able to use right away.
Well, actually, I started using some of the sports psychology stuff right away on automaticity. I don't know how to say that word exactly, but talking about habits and automatic behavior. And just by one demonstration that he did, the clinician there gave me something that I did right away on Monday with the kids, and it just had to do with folding your arms. And when we cross our arms, many of us just cross them very naturally, right? But if you think about it and somebody tells you to cross it the uncomfortable way, you actually have to engage your brain. And if one was to try that right now, you'd see what I mean. And so now take that to a repetitive sport like swimming. If our kids are repeating bad habits, the impact that will have long term. And so we're just really, I do have a sports psychology background. I have a master's in sports psych from Boston University. So it's always intriguing to me. It's why I chose this sport to coach, because it is one of the toughest mentally. So just really talking to the kids in this age group about habits and having them really define what is a good habit that they have and what is bad habits and how will that affect them long term, whether it be in the pool or outside the pool at home. From getting your dad or your mom to pack your backpack and make sure your water bottle's filled up, those kinds of really basic stuff. And then some of the other stuff in that was talking about choice. And we really have defined that for the kids here before I went to this clinic, but it just helped to really scrape the edges off it to get a little bit more definitive about choice. And that when each swimmer walks in this door, when each student athlete walks in the door of the pool, that they have a choice to be happy today or not. And, so it's my request that these guys really see this place to bring their best elite attitude, no matter what their genetics are.
Very interesting, very interesting. Hannah, I know you had some kind of classroom lectures that you were a part of as well. Was there any particular one that stood out the most for you?
I also really enjoyed the sports psychologist. I thought that was really interesting in creating habits that you don't have to think about, and so that doesn't waste energy like when you're swimming, and it happens when you're in the pool. So I really enjoyed that one as well.
I understand. Like I said, I talked to the head men's and women's coaches that were at the camp, and both of them had talked about how focused you guys were. I mean, not to say that teenagers aren't normally focused, but you understand what I'm saying. That most it's rare sometimes for especially a group of teenagers to be so focused on a talk and really understand it and take away from it. It's especially one of the things that I heard from Sue Chen, who was the head women's coaches, that you guys were just riveted to the USADA talk. That you guys had so many questions. It was like an hour-long presentation. I'm curious what that presentation was about.
That was interesting. We learned a lot of just how when you're tested and like what happens, and I think a lot of us were curious and what happens. I know I was. But then we learned some things you can just put on the shelf at the stores and they're not tested, and so you don't really know what's in them and if it's good for you or not. So that was also interesting, and I definitely want to be careful about that.
Right, definitely. And I understand you also got some pretty cool apparel. Tell us about all the stuff you guys got.
Yeah, definitely. We got 3 shirts, one that we wore each day. So it was red, white, and blue. Those were the colors of the shirts for each day. So that was cool. And then we got a backpack that we all carried around, a water bottle. So it was awesome just to be unified together and be really a part of a team there.
Well, I can tell you from experience that when things get better and you're on the national junior team or the national team, it's going to be a box as big as you full of apparel. So I can tell you that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, great.
Well, let's tell us more about the Upper Valley Aquatic Club, Dorsi. How many swimmers there are, and kind of what the philosophy of the team is in general.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty unique situation that was built. We opened almost 5 years ago in 2009. February 9th, 2009 was the opening date. I've been here since actually my 5-year anniversary, as well as at the Olympic Training Center last Sunday. I was in the trailer before we even opened this place. And it's a 3-year-old team, the Upper Valley Aquatic Club in the Upper Valley Aquatic Center, that used to be NCAC, which was North Country Aquatic Club. It was a mom in a concession stand that put this together, the foresight, the vision for a really state-of-the-art facility for this area, because she was bummed out about how her daughter had to go back from Dartmouth to KUA, Kimball Union Academy, in these very small, darker pools and try to share lane space. So the inception of this building was because of concession stand moms who were tired of having their children up late at night with bad practice times. Anyway, from there, we've been 3 years old as the Upper Valley Aquatic Club. And in 3 short years, we've had 10 and unders who are winning their age group championship in relays, both on the boys and girls side. We've had 12-year-olds who are age group champions as well in New England. We have success pretty much at every level. And Hannah's past success here, we have about 165 kids in the program in the wintertime, a little bit less than that in the summer. And we're looking to increase those numbers as people start to get an idea that swimming actually happens in Vermont. When I first came here in central and southern Vermont, there's no swimming opportunities whatsoever year round. And so skiing and hockey and all those kinds of sports took precedent. But I know now, especially with Hannah's talents and what she's done, just from one full season of training, she's only been in the pool solid for 1 full year yet. So she's kind of a late bloomer, and I think that the publicity she's bringing us obviously has been exceptional. But as a club, our most important thing is to stay unified, like Hannah said, as a team, and to try to dispel the idea that this is a individual sport. And we do that through a lot of different kind of team building exercises. But that's our biggest, my philosophy is that I want to be producing kids that want to go on to swim in college, period, the end. Because to me, that's the best 2 educations you can get in college is your academics plus a sport. And so my big push, my goal in this is to have every kid graduate and know that they could swim in college no matter what level they are.
Well, Hannah, I know you're pretty young, so college decision is still a couple years away, but I'm sure you've always got that circulating in your mind about what possibilities you have in terms of college.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, like Dorsi said, you've only been swimming year-round for about a year. You've had some amazing time drops. I've read you dropped 10 seconds in your long course 200 free down to 2:03. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's not going to be long, first of all, before you break in 2 minutes, and you're, like I said, you're on the national junior team getting the big box full of apparel. But what do you attribute the big time drops to?
Well, definitely my coach and my teammates, for sure, my family. But I don't know. Yeah, they've all supported me, and through that I've been able to practice and try to work hard and get to where I am. So
her work ethic is second to none. She doesn't miss a practice. She's here early. It's exceptional.
Oh, that definitely does help. Definitely helps.
Yeah.
So, Hannah, you're a freestyler, 200, 400, 800, 1500. Which is your best event?
Well, I went to the National Select Camp for the 800. So, as of right now, I think that's my best event, but I'm not sure.
Okay, well, you got time. You're young.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys, before we let you go, we want to submit you to our final 5. We've got 5 questions for you to kind of get in your brains a little bit better. So, Hannah, we'll start with you. If you could change the order of strokes in the individual medley, how would you change it?
I think I'd do butterfly, breaststroke, backstroke, freestyle.
Okay. Dorsi, if you could have a career other than being a swim coach, what would it be?
Drummer in a rock and roll band.
All right, all right. And on the reverse side of that, what's a career you would definitely not like to try?
Oh, a librarian.
Okay, all right. Hannah, if there's a rule in the swimming rule book that you could add or change, what would it be?
I think I have a trouble with counting, so maybe adding a counter for the 400.
For the 400, like the 400,
Yeah.
like short course meters freestyle or something like that?
Yeah.
I understand. I need even a counter for the 400 IM. I can't count the 4 legs of breaststroke after that. All right, and this last question is for both of you. Where do you like to go for vacation?
Oh. I'll say British Virgin Islands.
Very nice.
I haven't been out of the United States, but I really loved going to California this past summer, so I would say that's my favorite so far.
Yeah, for Junior Nationals, right, in Irvine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place. Definitely beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad to hear you had a great time out there in Colorado Springs. We're looking forward to seeing how Upper Valley Aquatic Club continues to grow.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jeff.
Our pleasure. All right, so our thanks to you as well for joining us for today's episode. Be sure to join us every weekday for a new interview with people making headlines in aquatic sports. I'm Jeff Cummings, and we'll see you next time.